It is the calm before the storm. Right now, all these desks are empty. 550 projects from around Ireland here at the BT Young Scientists and Technology Exhibition, the 60th edition of this here in the RDS in Dublin. They're all in here now in a side room, a little big hall actually, listening to President Michael D. Higgins talk to them. But once that's finished, they're all going to rush back out here. They're all going to get judged. Not by me though. I'm going to be nice, and we're going to meet some of them.
My project is about public awareness of autism, so I interview people on what conceptions they had about autism, misconceptions they had about autism.
And what did you discover doing it?
I discovered that a lot of people have very opposing opinions, and that I surveyed teachers and students, and their opinions didn't really vary that much, so I found that interesting. And most people agreed that there weren't enough resources in school for people with autism.
And Karen, why did you do a project about 60 years of BTYSTE?
So my sister had participated previously, so I saw all the benefits, and I obviously wanted to participate as well. But we just saw it's the 60th anniversary of it, so we decided it was the perfect time to do it.
And Karen, what did you learn while doing this?
I learned a lot about what it takes, to build a project like this first of all, and then also specifically to do with science, how to participate well in the BTYSTE and get success with it.
Just taking a quick break from the floor here to remind all of you, and the young people, why not, but all of you watching, to subscribe. Every sub helps, and share, like, comment, tell your friends. You know the drill. Inis doing fui Kerdavi the chance gonna fui.
So, one Garaki Smo Rappery could Clea Olympica in Boras. Rinne Tida, agus Larry Tida, go heppen Rappery na Aaron, Almana Caltica na Olympica, all Gominic for Druk Fostu. So, Crohic May, Chorus Pakala, Solis Funaha, a carry the Rappery na Aaron, Almana Caltica na Olympica Avantamach.
So, the vor and mate Farron to Agwins and then 5 knock will and mate and Ockley Agwins to Clea Olympica.
Yeah, August. For May, Rinne show my refresh Quig, Athletics Ireland, August, Anocht, Tom Con on Sun's Glasgow, Nolium, Agum, Cooper Ross, National Indoor Arena at Sports Campus Ireland.
So coffee is close to my heart, but is it good for me? Well, the next few projects we're looking at are going to look at that, but also about whether it's good for the environment.
Well, it's an investigation in how caffeine can affect the heart rate and the possible consequences it can have in the future. So basically I make a survey and I search the most caffeinated drinks, like the most popular, and I get Coke, Monster, Pride, Black Tea and coffee. And what I did is I measure my heart rate, then I drink the drinks I choose, and then I measure my heart rate different minutes after having the drink. And depending on of the drink, the heart rate goes faster or slower.
So I drink a fair bit of regular coffee. Should I be worried?
Well, depending on how, they recommend to drink from 2 to 3 cups per day, no more. So it's depending.
Okay, I'll be smarter in future. Best of luck. Espresso or depresso? I'm a big coffee drinker. Should I be worried?
The conclusions found that no, it's safe to consume as long as you're consuming the right amount of caffeine.
Oh, that's great to know.
But this is essentially an experiment to see how caffeine affects the rate of reaction in different enzymes, specifically polyphenol oxidase enzymes. And those are found in apples, which oxidize the apples, making them go brown. And they're also found in skin, hair, and eyes. And they give our eyes, skin, and hair the pigments, so the different colours that our eyes, skin, and hair are. So I wanted to experiment and see how caffeine affects these pigments and what this could potentially mean for beauty and healthcare and different things like that. So what I did was I got some apples and I cut them in half, and I put one of them to the side as the control, and I timed that for 30 minutes, photographed it, put it to the side, and then I soaked other apple halves in the respective caffeinated drinks here. So we have coffee, Prime, Monster Energy. I sent around a survey to see what the most popular ones were, and I soaked the apples in these drinks for 1 minute and left them aside. And then I used a stopwatch to time how long it took them to reach the sample as the control. So the results are here with the higher the caffeine the content was in the drink, the quicker it would oxidize with the apple. So this proves the fact that caffeine speeds up the rate of reaction with enzymes. And we can hypothesize then that this means if we find a way to get it into the polyphenol oxidase enzymes in our own body, it could prevent hair from graying, it could increase skin pigment, it could...
Too late for me in the grey hair, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but hopefully that was the kind of hypothesis.
And looking at your results there, I see Prime, the very famous drink, is even faster than regular coffee.
Yeah, there's more caffeine in Prime than there is in regular coffee.
That's a big surprise to me, like.
Yeah.
Marcus, so I'm a big coffee drinker, and a few of the projects scared me because they tell me to drink less coffee. You're going to make coffee save the world, I see.
Sure, listen, there's just so many coffee grounds just wasted annually, like some 40 million tons, I think. So it's just such a huge number, and if everyone drinks coffee, there's got to be something you've got to do something with it.
And like for yourself, like looking at this, because an alternative to fire starters and peat, where'd the idea even come from?
There's a woman in Sligo I saw who threw her coffee ground under a fire, and the fire went crazy. So I just thought a more efficient and hassle-free way of doing it would be to make firelighters.
So a lot of you will know I'm a big sports head, and a few of the projects here are sports focused. And one of them, well, she delivered the coldest line I think we're going to hear this whole event. Myths and misconceptions in sports in the GAA. Tell us all about it.
So my project is, I selected the 4 main areas where I feel are the most hotly contested among our athletes, and I then examined each one to see what the best ways of doing it are and whether there's any truth behind it.
And what did you learn?
So I learned, for example, that the spray for gloves, the glove adhesive spray, can actually be very helpful, especially in the rain. So usually it would be used for goalkeepers. It would stop the ball slipping through their hands. An extra safety net to stop goals going in. And as well, I learned that hydration, it's different for each person, so don't believe what your friend tells you to drink. You should drink only what works for you.
The aim of my project was to create a cricket prediction model using multivariate linear regression. Basically, I created a Python-based algorithm using machine learning that could take into account like players' previous runs, how much they made historically, and their social, behavioral, skill and market factors, and I could tell you with certain precision how many runs they will score in the next match. To do this, I defined x and y variables. I made the multiple linear equation. I solved it using regression analysis, and I trained the model, and I got my results. The artist score is 0.4, which basically means that there is a correlation between the factors that I took and the runs that a player makes. And the F statistic was 72, which disproves the null hypothesis, which means that there's definitely some truth to the theory. Here is the correlation matrix, which is that one.
Yeah.
It's a heat map matrix between the factors and the runs. It's all above 0.5 except for one factor, the ICC rating. So I eliminated that from my algorithm, and using those 4 factors, I trained the model.
And so I got to ask, because I see you're like you got Virat Kohli and some of the Indian team highlighted. Ireland in the best year in cricket. Can this mathematical model help the Ireland team get better?
I think to some degree, but I think the Ireland team needs other sort of help.
I figured we need to have something a bit more uplifting for this next section. So it's about old age and dying. It's a robot to help older people. So tell me all about it.
Well, at the moment in Ireland there is a carer shortage, and so this machine will be implemented into homes of people who need home care. And basically, the average amount of times a home carer would visit a home would be 3 to 4 times a day. And usually 2 out of 3 or 4 of those times would be for administering medication or taking the patient's temperature. Whereas if this is implemented into the home, it could basically do those tasks for the carer. It's able to administer medication, take a temperature, and there's also a 2-way communication system in it. And so there's a little tablet, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Where you can look at yourself through the camera, and you can also speak to the camera. This is a device for the camera, and so you're able to see yourself through the device.
Oh yeah, see me.
And then you're also able to speak through it, so you can hear me speak through it there. So ideally the carer would have this with them, maybe if they're in the car, they're at home, and let's say 2 paracetamol had to be administered at 10 o'clock. Where so a timer would be on their phone and 10 o'clock would go off. They'd pull this out and they'd make sure that the patient has taken their medicine, and they would talk them through it. Let's say if they had dementia and they didn't really understand, they'd be able to talk through it with them through the device.
Oh, I'm a bit older than the two of you, Sivan and Aveen. Let's talk about death.
Yes. So our project is all about looking into the reasons behind the inclining rate of cremation in Ireland.
And why are people getting cremated more then?
Well, there are a multitude of different reasons. One of the main ones that we found is like personal reasons are definitely like more prominent than say like cultural. So like cost effectiveness is one of the biggest ones. When we had our interview with our local funeral director, John McMahon, he mentioned that like the cost of a grave is rising, as well as the availability of land, of course. And it's just more economical these days to get cremation, as unbelievable as that sounds. And also just personal preference. Sometimes people would rather be like scattered in their favourite place than be kind of buried in the ground. It's really up to you, you know?
And so you mentioned the cost of the grave there. I suppose it's not just that we can't afford apartments or houses anymore, we can't afford graves.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, that's really uplifting for a much older person like me.
Yes.
So you may find all of this a bit intellectually intimidating, and you'd be right. These children are extremely smart. It's all about ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm investigating if ChatGPT can predict the outcome of sports events.
And so that's quite an interesting one for me. I'm a big sports fan. So can ChatGPT predict who's going to win the All-Ireland, say?
No. My results, you can see on the pie chart. For the soccer matches, 60% of the matches it predicted it was wrong, and it was right with 40%.
So I wouldn't be betting with ChatGPT then?
No.
You want a fruit bowl that'll reduce decomposition, so tell us how that works.
Yeah, so this is our first prototype here. It's not much of a bowl, but
look around in my living room, don't worry.
Basically, right, we have two blue LEDs inside, which shine blue LED light onto the banana. And from our tests, it's shown that blue LED light preserves bananas considerably better than red, and our control experiments. And then we have a fan either side, which is controlled by a switch, and that blows the ethylene gas out of the box.
Oh, that's really clever.
So ethylene gas is what makes bananas ripen and turn brown. So the less ethylene gas that's produced, the longer they will conserve.
Ghosts of BTYSTE past, Emer and Rona. So what brings you two here?
We come back to the UT Insiders every single year to meet with other alumni, talk with the executives, and to see all of the new projects that the students have done. We saw some great soundproofing projects here this year, so there's great innovation happening in the acoustic space, which we always love to see.
And Emer, obviously the story of LIST began right at this event, didn't it?
It did indeed, yeah. So we started off from a project that we did in 2009, all about tinnitus, the ringing in the ears. We spun that project out into a product that we still sell online today as Sound Relief, Sound Therapy, and that's also led us to our future projects and products of sound bounce and acoustic materials.
And Rona, you've gone from the young scientist to space with your products. That must be kind of an inspiration to the youngsters out here.
It is, yeah, and we love meeting with all of the students here to tell them about our journey and how we took our project, which we did when we were doing our leaving cert, incorporated that into the business in the same year, and now we are working with the European Space Agency to take that technology to the market. So it really is amazing what you can do with your young scientist project. If you just keep at it, you can go to space.
Maths to reduce anxiety, do tell.
I know it sounds a bit funny, but like fractal geometry, which is in between, like 1D or 2D, they're in between these, so like 1.7 or 2.3, and they're in nature, like broccoli. So basically what it is...
So we've got some broccoli here. I'm going to come down to you with the broccoli.
So broccoli, as you see, looks like this. When you take one apart and look at it at a different scale, it's basically the same, self-similarity. So that's basically examples of it in nature, as well as a fern, because you see, like the main one here, here's another different scale, and same here. And humans are naturally attracted to fractals in nature, which is kind of connected to biophilia, which is just, attraction to nature. So basically what it is I use fractal geometry in a classroom setting, and I had students construct a fractal and colour it, and then I tested their relaxation before and after the activity and to see if it had any effect, and it did have an increase. Mainly in females, which, it might be because they're neater. Here's an example of
oh yeah, please.
Sierpinski triangle.
Oh yeah.
And
that even looks relaxing just to draw, like.
Oh, I was doing one earlier because it's just a bit
So your project's actually helping you relax for the young scientists.
Yeah.
So that's just a sample of the 550 projects here at the BT Young Scientists and Technology exhibition. And yeah, it's been fantastic for me just to get a sample of that. You should try it out too. It's on here in the RDS. And it's fantastic. It's fascinating. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe.